What if I told you psychology facts could save your life? Understanding how our minds work helps avoid danger, improve relationships, and make better decisions. Psychology reveals insights to overcome poor judgment and recognize biases. The more psychology you know, the more you can use it in everyday life. These phenomena will make you shake your head at how strangely our minds work. After watching, you'll never see your own mind the same way. All right, let's get started. Fact 1. Fundamental attribution error. The fundamental attribution error refers to our tendency to overemphasize personality-based explanations for someone's behavior while underestimating the role of situational factors. For example, if someone snaps at you, your first instinct may be to think they are rude or have an aggressive personality. But in reality, they could be stressed from work, grieving a loss, or dealing with some other situational factor that is affecting their mood. If someone cuts you off while driving, it's easy to assume they are an inconsiderate or reckless person. But considering the situation, maybe they are rushing to the hospital for an emergency, or just made an honest mistake. If a coworker misses a deadline, you might be tempted to label them as lazy or incompetent. But perhaps they are overwhelmed with family issues or other obligations outside of work that are impacting their job performance. The fundamental attribution error causes us to form negative, personality-based judgments of people's behaviors when situational factors better explain what is going on. This can damage relationships and cause resentment when we assume the worst of someone's character based on limited information. To avoid this error, it's important to consider outside situational factors first before concluding something about someone's personality. We should give people the benefit of the doubt rather than assuming their behavior reflects fundamental flaws in their character. Maintaining empathy and perspective can help prevent unfair judgments due to the fundamental attribution error. Fact 2. Bystander effect. The bystander effect happens when people don't help someone in need if others are around. For example, many witnessed Kitty Genovese's murder, but didn't call police because they assumed someone else would. When we all think someone else will help, no one helps. We feel less personal responsibility to act. Some examples of the bystander effect: in a crowd, you see someone slip and fall. Don't just watch. Ask if they need assistance. A classmate is bullied. Speak up, rather than expecting another student to intervene. A stranger's grocery bag breaks. Offer to help pick up fallen items. Don't assume another passerby will. The more people around, the easier it is to assume someone else will help. But that results in no one taking action. Fight the bystander instinct. If you see someone needs help, take responsibility and do something. Don't just wait for another to step up. Fact 3. Diffusion of responsibility. Diffusion of responsibility refers to the tendency for individuals to be less likely to take action when responsibility is shared among a group. Some examples. In an emergency situation, if many people are present, each person will assume someone else will help, so no one does. Like if a fire alarm goes off in a crowded building, most will ignore it, thinking others will report it. In a meeting when action items are left unclear, everyone will wait for someone else to volunteer to follow up. No one wants to be the one to take initiative. When there's a mess left in a public space, each passerby assumes it's not their job to clean it up since it's a shared common area. So the mess remains. In a group project, if responsibility is divided ambiguously, each person will wait for another group member to step up as leader. No one wants to take charge. Diffusion of responsibility makes people passive because we assume with collective responsibility, I don't need to do it. We fall into the trap of waiting for another person to handle it. To fight this tendency, step up and take action even when you're part of a group. Don't let diffusion of responsibility set in. For example, volunteer for unclear tasks, take initiative to clean up public messes, and suggest stepping up as leader on a passive team. Maintaining personal accountability defeats this social phenomenon. Fact 4. Fight or flight response. The fight or flight response is a physiological reaction that occurs when we perceive a threat. It triggers the body's sympathetic nervous system, flooding it with hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This prepares the body to either stay and combat a threat or flee to safety. In the past, this was useful when facing life-threatening dangers like animal attacks. But these days, it can be activated by non-life-threatening situations when we feel threatened emotionally, like during disagreements, criticism, or everyday frustrations. When the fight or flight response kicks in during benign situations, it can cause us to overreact in harmful ways, such as lashing out in anger when having a disagreement rather than discussing it calmly, immediately shutting down or withdrawing when a partner brings up an issue instead of listening, blowing up irrationally if a friend disagrees with you rather than having a logical debate, becoming defensive if your boss critiques you rather than being open and addressing their concerns, reacting aggressively like honking or rude gestures when another driver cuts you off rather than staying calm. Being aware of the fight or flight response helps you recognize when it's been inappropriately activated so you can override it. Take deep breaths, relax your body, and engage your rational brain to avoid making irrational choices when you feel threatened or criticized. Don't let this instinct control you in harmless situations. Stay logical and keep perspective. Fact 5. Cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are systematic errors in thinking that affect our judgments and decisions. They happen unconsciously, without us realizing it. Biases typically cause us to make faulty assessments, interpret information incorrectly, or hold mistaken beliefs. Some common cognitive biases include confirmation bias. We seek out and favor information that confirms our existing views while ignoring or downplaying anything that contradicts our beliefs. This leads to a biased perspective. Negativity bias. We pay more attention to negative experiences and information than positive ones. Negative inputs have a greater effect on our thoughts, emotions, and memories. This skews our outlook in a more negative direction. Halo effect. We assume someone has positive traits in all areas because of our positive impressions in one area. For example, thinking someone is trustworthy because they are attractive. This bias leads to inflated judgments. Hostile attribution bias. We interpret others' behaviors as intentionally hostile, even when the actions are ambiguous or benign. This predisposes us to anger and conflict with others. Horns effect, the opposite of the halo effect. We let one negative trait color our entire view of someone in a negative way. This leads to dismissing people too quickly based on limited information. There are dozens of known cognitive biases that affect memory, reasoning, judgment, choices, and behavior. Being aware of them can help us recognize when our thinking has gone astray. We can then make an effort to counteract the bias's effects by seeking objective data to balance biased perceptions, considering alternative viewpoints and possibilities, slowing down reasoning to avoid instinctive judgments, factoring in positive information to offset negativity, bias, giving others the benefit of the doubt instead of assuming hostility. Identifying and mitigating our own cognitive biases leads to clearer, more balanced thinking and better decisions overall. And there you have it. 5 psychology facts that can truly save your life. Now that you know things like the bystander effect, will you be more likely to take action when you see someone needing help? Will you pause and think rationally instead of just reacting on instinct? Understanding how our minds work can help us make better choices every day. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make more videos like this diving into fascinating psychology topics. What other aspects of psychology are you curious about? And if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to show your support. The more good feedback these videos get, the more I can continue making them. I appreciate each and every one of you watching all the way to the end. Until next time, stay safe out there and use your new psychology knowledge to improve your life and relationships. Never stop learning. All right, catch you next video.